They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out.
MS13.
It says MS13.
That was Photoshopped. So let me
That was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay.
There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any.
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that? You guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news. All right.
Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst.
Welcome back to Rattlesnake TV, guys. In this video, we're going to be watching the best moments from the recent Trump interview or debate with ABC. Now, we don't know who this fake news talking head is. It doesn't even matter, but what we do know is that Trump absolutely rips him a new one during the course of this entire interview, and it is glorious to see. So let's get into it, guys. But before we get there, don't forget to smash that like button. If you enjoy political and cultural analysis and debate content, then make sure to subscribe.
Do you acknowledge that under our law, every single person who gets deported gets a hearing first to make their case?
Well, are we talking about people that are citizens of our country or not?
No, you're not deporting citizens at this point.
Well, let me ask you, did they get hearings when Biden allowed 21 million, because I think the number is 20 million people to flow into our country? You had 21 million people that came into our country through a stupid open border, and they were prisoners, and they were people that you don't want in many cases in our country, right? They came from all over the world. They came from the Congo. They came from South. They came from all over the world. We're talking about some of the roughest countries in the world they had here, including terrorists, by the way. Now,
but
did we give them a hearing when they came in?
Well, the law requires that every single person who is going to be deported gets a hearing first.
Well,
do you acknowledge that?
I'll have to ask the lawyers about that. All I can say is this. If you're going to have 21 million people, and if we have to get a lot of them out because they're criminals, we're going to have to act fast. We can't. Do you think we can give 21 million trials? Let's say each trial takes 2 weeks. Is that what you want us to do?
The law
give
is the law, sir. The law is the law, and you're
the law doesn't say anything
it.
about trials.
No, not trials, hearings. I said
These
hearings.
people came in, they're not citizens. They came in illegally. They came into our country illegally. We have to get them out.
There's a legal process for that.
I can't, sure, and we follow the legal process. I can't have a trial, a major trial for every person that came in illegally. We have thousands of murderers that came in. They're going to murder people. They already have murdered people in our country.
Right, so
we have to get them out, and we have to get them out fast.
Really bad guys, but in our country, even bad guys get due process, right?
If people come into our country illegally, there's a different standard. These are illegal. They came in illegally.
But they get due process.
Well, they get a process where we have to get them out. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about the Venezuelans.
They get whatever my lawyers say.
Right. All right, let's talk about the Venezuelans. You deported more than 200 Venezuelans to that prison in El Salvador. You say they're violent, they're gang members, they're terrorists. Many of them don't have a criminal record at all.
Well,
but I want to...
I'm not so sure about that if you take a look.
I want to read you something.
Excuse me, when you look at those people, they were violent people. They were violent people.
But many of them don't have a criminal record at this point.
I want to read you something.
Oh, it's based on their lawyer, what their lawyers have said. Okay.
So what an absolute load of garbage. And it's hard to believe that these people will just constantly double down on this. The open border policies that were created by the Democrats, and particularly in that last Joe Biden, Kamala Harris administration, is such a catastrophe and such an abomination. And they've created such an enormous problem that, yes, it will take drastic measures to fix this. There are illegal immigrants in the country by the millions that have absolutely no right to be there. There are vicious and violent gangs of these people terrorizing American citizens and communities. It's something that has the potential to destroy the very identity of the country. And they're worried about due process for these people. I mean, sure, maybe if there was 100 of them, you could say that. But Trump is absolutely right here. How can you have due process for tens of millions of them? How can you sit there and justify spending billions of taxpayer dollars on illegal immigrants, and especially on violent gang members, instead of putting that into American citizens? Does he have any idea how much that would cost, how much that would back up the legal system, and how it actually would just result in these people not getting deported? He probably does, but these people will stop at nothing to go against Trump, the only guy who has the balls to do something major about this major problem. Like Trump said, they should get a process, and that should be the process of getting them out of the country. And guess what? for the most part, he has been doing what he said he was going to do. Check out this story from Ground News today. Border czar Tom Homan says only 9 illegal migrants released into the US under Trump, a 99.99% drop from the same period under Biden. I found this story in the blind spot feature, which is great because as you can see here by the bias distribution, the left, for some reason, really aren't so keen on reporting this story. But even if they were reporting it, you could see how it's being reported from left, center, and right. The cool thing about Ground News, guys, is that they compile tens of thousands of sources from around the internet, and they put it in one place so that you don't have to go searching around all of these different sites for your news. And for Rattlesnake TV listeners, they are offering a massive 40% off the Vantage plan, which is what I use. All you've got to do is go to ground.news/rattlesnake. That's ground.news/rattlesnake and start your Vantage plan today. And remember, not only is this great bang for buck, you're also supporting a company who helps independent creators like myself to be able to survive. Let's get back to the video.
Let me ask you about one man and one court order. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He's the Salvadoran man who crossed into this country illegally, but who is under a protective order that he not be sent back to El Salvador. Your government sent him back to El Salvador and acknowledged in court that was a mistake. And now the Supreme Court has upheld an order that you must return him to facilitate his return to the United States. What are you doing to comply?
Well, the lawyer that said it was a mistake was here a long time, was not appointed by us, should not have said that, and just so you understand, the person that you're talking about, you know, you're making this person sound, this is a MS13 gang member, a tough cookie, been in lots of skirmishes, beat the hell out of his wife, and the wife was petrified to even talk about him, okay? This is not an innocent, wonderful gentleman from Maryland.
I'm not saying he's a good guy. It's about the rule of law. The order from the Supreme Court stands, sir.
He came into our country illegally.
You could get him back. There's a phone on this desk.
I could.
You could pick it up, and with all the power of the presidency, you could call up the president of El Salvador and say, send him back right now.
And if he were the gentleman that you say he is, I would do that.
But the court has ordered you to facilitate that.
I'm not the one making this decision. We have lawyers that don't want to do this.
But the buck stops in this office.
No. I follow the law. You want me to follow the law? If I were the president that just wanted to do anything, I'd probably keep him right where he is.
Supreme Court says what the law is.
Listen, I was elected to take care of a problem. It was a unforced error that was made by a very incompetent man, a man that turned out to be incompetent, that you always said was wonderful, a great genius, right? And now you find out, all of the media now, they're saying what a mistake they made. A man who was grossly incompetent allowed us to have open borders where millions of people flowed in. I campaigned on that issue. I wouldn't say it was my #1 issue, but it was pretty close.
Right up there.
I campaigned on that issue. I've done an amazing job. I have closed borders. He said you couldn't do it. You wouldn't be able to do it. It would never happen. Well, it happened, and it happened very quickly. Wait a minute. When we have criminals, murderers, criminals in this country, we have to get them out, and we're doing it.
By law.
And you'll pick out one man, but even the man that you picked out, he said he wasn't a member of a gang. And then they looked, and on his knuckles, he had MS13.
There's a dispute over that.
Wait a minute. He had MS13 on his knuckles tattooed.
Oh, he had some tattoos that are interpreted that way. But let's move on.
Wait a minute. Hey, Terry.
He did not have the letter MS13.
It says MS13.
That was Photoshopped. That
was Photoshopped. Terry, you can't do that. Hey, they're giving you the big break of a lifetime. You know, you're doing the interview. I picked you because, frankly, I never heard of you, but that's okay. But I picked you, Terry, but you're not being very nice. He had MS13 tattooed.
We'll agree to disagree. I want to move on to something else.
Terry, do you want me to show you the picture?
I saw the picture.
And you think it was Photoshopped? Well,
here we go.
Don't Photoshop it. Go look at his hand. He had MS13.
He did have tattoos that can be interpreted that way. I'm not an expert on them. I want to turn to Ukraine, sir.
Terry,
I want to get to Ukraine.
No. He had MS, as clear as you can be, not interpreted. This is why people no longer believe the news, because
when
it's
he was
fake
photographed
news.
in El Salvador, they aren't there. But let's just go on. They aren't there when he's in El Salvador.
They weren't there, but they're there now, right?
No,
but they're there
in
now.
your picture.
Terry.
Ukraine, sir.
He's got MS13 on his knuckles.
All right.
Okay?
Well, we'll take a look at that.
It's you do
We'll take a
such a
look.
disservice.
We'll take a look at
Why
that,
don't you
sir.
just say, yes, he does, and, go on to something
It's
else?
contested.
Don't you love just seeing Trump absolutely rip these people? Now let's talk about the MS13 tattoos on his knuckles. You can see here the tattoo. It's a marijuana leaf, which is an M, smiley face, which is S, a cross, which equals 1, and then a skull disguised as 3 equaling 3. MS13. It's a symbolic tattoo, which is how these gang members show their allegiance without necessarily having it outright saying the gang name. But isn't it funny how the mainstream media, these exact same people, will go after Pete Hegseth for his tattoos because his tattoos must mean that he is dangerous because he has Christian tattoos on him. But then for this guy, no. This is harmless, guys. He's just a Maryland man. No, those tattoos link him to a gang that is literally satanic. They have initiation rituals where when somebody joins the gang, they're required to literally murder an innocent person. And this has happened many times on the streets of the USA. This Garcia guy has the gang tattooed on him. He's most likely a member of the gang. He's also an illegal immigrant. Is that a chance that you want to be taking? Is he really a hill that these people want to die on? These people literally take underage girls and rape them, perform satanic rituals on them, and kill them as part of their sick, demented, satanic practices.
And then they ask him, and what is your position in the gang? He explained how he went up in positions, but I left the gang. I said, why did you left the gang? And he said, well, because I was used to kill people, but I killed for territory. I killed to collect money. I killed for extortion. But I came to to this house, and they were about to kill a baby. And the killer that had killed tens of people, said, "Oh, wait, what are we doing? Why are we going to kill that baby?" And they told him, because the beast asked for a baby.
And they are in the country illegally. So please tell me, why do they deserve due process? Let's carry on.
Elon Musk and Doge. Everyone knows that there's wasteful government spending. It's really important. But the cuts have had some serious consequences. There have been cuts to foreign aid programs that save lives and keep people alive overseas. There's been research at the National Institutes of Health on cancer, on Alzheimer's, that has had to be stopped. And the question I think people have is, did Doge go too far, too fast, too recklessly?
No, I think Doge has saved $150 billion. We saved, that's a lot of money. There's also a lot of things right now under investigation, which is going to increase that amount by a lot. That's a tremendous amount of money. There were some things where, when I heard about them, I put them back, as you know. There are things that I'm considering right now putting back, but overall we've saved hundreds of billions of dollars.
Well, the original promise was $2 trillion, went to $1 trillion, now to $150 billion, and heading south.
You don't know what it's going to be, because we have things that are at a very high level that are being looked at right now. We also found tremendous waste, fraud, and abuse, as you know. We found a lot of fraud. There was a lot of fraud. Fraudulent things were taking place, and we ended that, and those people are going to be suffering because of it.
A legal note, fraud is a crime. There have been no referrals to the Justice Department on any.
Well, you don't know that, do you? How do you know that?
Have there been referrals to the, are there criminal referrals?
How would you know that there were no referrals? I think there were referrals.
They generally are. There's been no investigation from the Justice Department.
How do you know that?
I'm asking you, sir.
No, you're not asking me. You made a statement. You're not
now
asking
I'm asking you.
That was a statement that you made. There have been.
I'm asking you.
Have there been? Yes, there have.
So there have been referrals for fraud from the work of Doge.
Take a look at some of these things that took place. Billions of dollars were given to people for no reason whatsoever. Of course there have been.
I know it because my piece of paper says it, sir. So in order for there to be arrests and prosecutions, there needs to be a legal process that takes place. We don't really know what kind of referrals have been made at this stage, and we don't know what kind of prosecutions might be coming down the line. But we do know that there has been a lot of fraud uncovered, namely the Social Security fraud.
I'll say the two improvements that we're trying to make to Social Security are helping people that legitimately get benefits, protect them from fraud that they experience every day on a routine basis, and also make the experience better. And I'll give you one example is at Social Security, one of the first things we learned is that they get phone calls every day of people trying to change direct deposit information. So when you want to change your bank account, you can call Social Security. We learned 40% of the phone calls that they get are from fraudsters.
40%.
That's right. Almost half.
Yes, and they steal people's Social Security is what happens. Is they call in, they say, they claim to be a retiree, then they convince the Social Security person on the phone to change where the money's flowing. It actually goes to some fraudster. This is happening all day, every day. And then somebody doesn't receive their Social Security. It's because of all the fraud loopholes in the Social Security system.
Here's a Doge volunteer saying that they have referred people who have committed this type of fraud.
You saw these millions of people, non-citizens, on the Social Security rolls. Did they get benefits?
Yes, we actually tracked them through the benefit programs. We found them in virtually all the benefit programs. And one statistic for you is we found 1.3 million of them on Medicare.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen to those people?
Look, we referred people that were registered to vote, which is a federal crime, and people that voted to ICE, to DHS, and to the DOJ. They've committed to prosecute.
And that's just one example. So, I mean, if this reporter wants to come on here and make those claims, he'd better be able to back them up. But he really wasn't expecting the follow-up question. And if I was Trump, I would have held his feet to the fire even more there. And I would have said, no, actually tell us how you know that. Because obviously he didn't know it. It just said it on his piece of paper. Now for the last part where Trump takes a parting shot at ABC, which is just too funny.
Do you think the reputation of the United States has gone down under your presidency?
No, I think it's gone way up, and I think we're a respected country again. We were laughed at all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs, couldn't walk down a flight of stairs, couldn't walk across a stage without falling. We had a president that was grossly incompetent. You knew it, I knew it, and everybody knew it, but you guys didn't want to write it because you're fake news.
All right. Thank you.
And by the way, ABC is one of the worst, I have to be honest with you.
Thank you for the opinion, but more importantly, thank you for having us here. I have one more question. It's a big one. It's a question that you know a lot of people have out there. What do you say to people who are concerned you are seizing too much power and becoming an authoritarian president like we haven't had before?
No, I would hate them to think that. I'm doing one thing. I'm making America great again. We have a country that was failing. We have a country that was laughed at all over the world. We had a leader that was grossly incompetent. He should have never been there. The election was rigged. He should have never been there. Our country suffered greatly, and now our country's coming back like nobody can believe. I have editorials just today where they're saying they've never seen anything like it. They love it. Our country's coming back, and we're respected again.
So you love to see it, guys. This guy just got his career absolutely blown up by Donald Trump. The whole entire establishment mainstream media is completely freaking out. They're doing everything they can, just like in his first term, to try and denigrate everything that he does and act like he is just the biggest monster in the entire world. But honestly, I do think that in the future, there will be positive implications for all of the things that Trump is doing. I think the country will be safer and more prosperous, but time will tell. Hopefully we can gloat about it in the not so distant future. So with that, guys, don't forget to check out Ground News. All of their links will be just below. And if you guys would like to watch another video, you can click right here. Till next time, I'm Jake. This is Rattlesnake TV, keeping you armed and dangerous.